If you've decided to go to university this year, it's a very exciting time for you. There's lots to sort out, and one of the things on your list should be a student bank account. To make it easy for you, we've looked into the best ones. So, student accounts are really useful when you go to university as they offer a much bigger 0% overdraft than your typical current account, and many offer decent freebies like cash and railcards and subscriptions. While it can be tempting to focus on the perks and pick an account based on that, a better approach is to consider the size of the overdraft when making a decision. Another thing to think about is getting a non student current account to help you budget and manage your money, which I will talk more about later. So, what makes student accounts different from other bank accounts? Well, first off, obviously, you have to be a student and you will need to prove it, probably with your UCAS number or proof of an accepted offer. Secondly, you can usually only have one student account at a time, whereas with other accounts, you can have multiple. Thirdly, you can get a big 0% overdraft, which is much larger than other current accounts. So, an overdraft is when you borrow from your current account, it's money that you can access when you need it. Non student accounts tend to charge you to use this feature by applying an interest rate to whatever you borrow. It can often be around 40%, which is way more expensive than other types of debt, including credit cards. But with student accounts, you get the overdraft for the duration of your degree without having to pay interest. And then when you graduate, you'll have time afterwards to pay it back. Having an overdraft is really useful, even if you think you're not going to use it, because it provides a bit of a safety net in case something happens. And let's face it, you know, anything could. I totally get that you may not want to take on more debt, especially if you've got a student loan already, but life is expensive, even if you're planning on getting a job and working through university, or you've got government or family support. You don't even have to use the overdraft, but it is there if you need it. And it's better to borrow at 0% than use an expensive credit card or other types of debt. But a word, and I'm not trying to be your mum here, but while it may be tempting to dip into your overdraft to pay for holidays or festivals or splurging in Superdrug, which was one of my favourite things to do at university, it's not about using it for those things. It's about getting you through university if you need it. Now, some student accounts may have a tiered system when it comes to overdraft, so the money could be spread over the 3 years that you're at university. You could get £500 in the first term, £1,000 in the first year, another £1,500 in the third year. And they do this so you don't blow it all at once. Some of the banks offer up to a certain amount, so you may not get exactly what's advertised. Saying that, it may not be the best idea to get the maximum amount anyway, especially if you're the type to get tempted to spend. Have a go at working out how much you think you might need and ask for that. And then once you graduate, the overdraft starts to shrink and you'll need to pay it back before you get hit with the interest. It's worth noting there's also a chance you might get rejected for the overdraft, so check your credit report before you apply. Most students won't have much of a credit history, but make sure there's no errors on there. Many student accounts offer freebies. So we've got cash, railcards, subscriptions, vouchers, but you can only get these perks in your first year of university. It's not like with current account switching offers where you can get them at any time. Cash, I would say, is the best option as you can do whatever you want with it. £100, yes, please. Other perks are fine, but they shouldn't be the main draw. When I got a student account, I didn't give it too much thought. I just went with Natwest because there was a branch in my university. But this was before mobile banking and I didn't even have a smartphone. So branch access was a lot more important back then. And I did get a 4-year rail card, which I used loads and it saved me loads of money traveling back home. So that was good. But I probably could have shopped around a bit. And I did find out when you move away from university, a branch campus isn't that useful. While you can only have one student account, you can get another non student account or multiple non student accounts elsewhere. You could use your student account to receive funds, so your student loan, income from a job, those kind of things, as your main account. And to help you budget, you can use the other one. So work out how much you spend on day to day stuff and move this money to the other account. The best ones for this, I'd say, are Chase, Starling, and Monzo because they require a soft credit check, which means they're easier to get, and they're purely digital, which means they're designed to use on your smartphone, so are really straightforward. They have great features to track your spend, help you save, and generally manage your money. Out of those, I'd say Chase is the top one as you earn 1% cash back on your spend. You can get as much as £15 each month, both in the UK and abroad. and it's fee-free when you do go on holiday, and you also get decent savings interest. So let's look at the specific student accounts. We have got detailed reviews of each of them at becleverwithyourcash.com, but I'll take you through the summaries and which we think are best. So first up is Royal Bank of Scotland, or RBS, and Natwest. Now these are both part of the same banking group, so we'll go through them both together. With these accounts, you get an overdraft of up to £500 in the first term and £2,000 in the first year, which is massive. You'll then get up to £3,250 in the third year, again, which is huge. You'll also get £100 cash, great, and a 4-year taste card. So if we look at the overdraft potential here is massive, which is why it's top of the list. But again, it's for covering your costs when you need it, not for going on a spending spree. The cash, you can tell I'm excited about it. Great. £100, you can spend it on whatever you want. And I'd always go for the cash over other perks. And the 4-year taste card is okay. It's worth about £35 a year. And it gives you 2-for-1 meals at participating restaurants. But it's only good if you actually use it. And you're still spending money to go out for dinner. So it's not actually that money saving. You're still spending the money to go. Next, we have the Nationwide FlexStudent account. Again, you get a generous overdraft, not as generous as RBS and Natwest, but still generous. You get up to £1,000 in year one, £2,000 in year two, and £3,000 in the third year. You may not get the full amount, but you can always ask for it to be increased. Nationwide also offers £100 in cash, delish, and £120 in Just Eat vouchers. So it's basically one £10 voucher each month. I'd say these are decent options as it's cash, and you know my feelings on cash already. And if you get vouchers, despite the fact that you do have to use them for Just Eat, you are tied into using them with the company, at least it is saving you money and everyone eats food. With this account, you need to pay in £500 every term to get the perks and the overdraft. Now, I would say this is a good one to consider over the others, even if the overdraft is not as big as RBS and NatWest, because it is a building society. Now, the difference here is with banks like RBS and NatWest, their profits go to shareholders and investing in the fossil fuel industry. So they're not the most ethical choice. But Nationwide isn't a bank, it's a building society, so it's owned by the members or the customers. So any money it makes isn't going to shareholders, it's going back to the business. It might use it to improve savings rates or mortgage rates, or by rewarding customers, and not into practices that you don't agree with. Next, we have the Santander Edge Student account. Now, unlike the others, this offers a guaranteed overdraft of £1,500 for the 3 years. It's not as much as the others, but it gives you the certainty of what you're getting. If you study a bit longer, it increases. So you'll get £1,800 in year 4 and £2,000 if you stay on for a 5th year. You'll also get a 4-year railcard, which really does save you money on train travel and is pretty good if you're moving away from home to a different city and you're planning on traveling back quite a lot. But I would still say cash is better. If you got £100 as a perk for one of these student accounts and you wanted a railcard, you can buy one for £30 a year or £70 for 3 years and still have money left over. And like Nationwide, you'll need to deposit £500 in the account every term. So those are just our top student accounts, but we've got a full list of them over on the website. For example, Lloyds and Halifax both have student accounts that offer an overdraft of up to £1,500 and give you £110 in cash. With the Lloyds one, you also get 20% off student events. There's also some banks that haven't announced the perks just yet. So Co-op Bank is one of these. We're still waiting to see what it's going to offer, but it's good if you are considering or want to have a look at an ethical alternative. As always, for more information, check out the full article on becleverwithyourcash.com and our full reviews of each student bank account, which go into a lot more depth. If you're particularly confident with your money, you may want to consider Stoozing, but only if you're really disciplined and organised. We've got a separate video which explains this in more detail, but briefly, this is where you borrow off your overdraft at 0% and stash the money in a savings account that pays, say, 5% or however high you can get. It means you're earning money on the funds that you're borrowing. So on £1,000, for example, you'll get 50 quid in a year. It's not a huge amount, but it is something for nothing. It's best to put the money in an easy access savings account in case you do end up needing the money for an emergency or to cover your costs. But as I said, it's only for people who know what they're doing. You can also find the best rates at becleverwithyourcash.com/savings. But for most people, an overdraft is about covering your costs and getting yourself through university. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching or listening. Enjoy the rest of your summer and good luck in September.